Hey there, race fans. John Flores, editor-in-chief of On the Level magazine. I'm here with BMW racer and special guest Travis Wyman. He's been writing a column for OTL since September 2018. And if you haven't read the column, you definitely should. He does a great job of giving readers an inside look of what it's like to race at the national level, both during the race season and in the off season. And we're here today because Travis scored a big win, his first win of this crazy season in the Stock 1000 race at Indy. So welcome to OTL, Travis.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This is exciting.
Yeah, so it was a big deal for you to win this race. You qualified second on the grid, right? Can you tell us a little bit about how the bike felt and what it was like to get second on the grid?
So Indy's really one of my favorite tracks in the country. It's a track that I've raced at quite a bit over the years. And something with the new bike this year is it's really been strong in some of the flat corners, like the corners that don't have any banking, don't have any hills, and that's really kind of the extent of Indianapolis is a bunch of flat turns, and I knew we were going to do really well. And right out of the gate, I mean, we were pretty quick, and I think we're second in the first qualifying, and then improved our time by over a second, and we were second in the second qualifying, which put us, P2 on the grid for the weekend's races. So it was really just a strong effort right from the get go, and I knew we could do it, but I wasn't sure really what the result from the weekend was going to be. Cam Peterson, he's been really strong all year, and he was on pole by over a second. So I knew we had a lot of work to do in the race, but starting second was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah, he was. I was looking it up. He was over 1.3 seconds ahead in P1. And in previous races, he simply checked out. So when you're on the grid there and you're ready for the flag to drop, what's your mindset? Of course, is always to win. But like, did you think you had a chance because you were at Indy and it's a track that you love?
You know, you always got to stay positive, and you always got to believe in yourself that you can win. I mean, if you didn't believe you could win, there's no point in showing up to the track. So, um, being that you had such a big gap in qualifying, I knew it was going to be tough. But I knew if I could get through the first couple corners behind him, I think I could get that extra little pull to stay with him because in the qualifying sessions before, I mean, when you're second, you don't really have people passing you in those sessions. So you don't really get to see a faster line, or you don't really get to see how, people are really doing it. I didn't even see Cam on track for those first two sessions, but I knew if I got behind him, I could probably get a tow, but it's like I wasn't sure I could actually hang with him, let alone pass him. So I didn't get the best start. I think I was fourth going into turn one, but I made a pass around the outside in one, and I stuck to Cam, and he pulled the gap right away. He's always on it right off the start of the races, but I was able to kind of reel it back in and maintain that gap for the whole length of the race.
Yeah, yeah, you were second on the grid, but you got a little bit of a soft start. Like you said, you were on the outside of turn one, but by the time you were turning into turn two, you were back in second and right on his tail. Um, so with as the race evolved, what places did you see Cam pulling away, and what places did you see yourself and the BMW closing up any gaps that were there?
So for sure, I mean, we had horsepower on Cam. This new bike is so fast in a straight line, especially when you get wide open up in the upper gears, like fifth and sixth gear. So I was definitely making up some time on the straightaway. But I was also really strong in the S's, like the flat section of racetrack from, let's say, turns 5 through 10, where you're changing direction from one to the next. And I made up some time there and definitely on the straightaway. But he was really strong in the last chicane leading onto the front straightaway. So it's like I said, kind of in my podium interview, I knew if I wasn't right on his butt coming off the last corner, I wouldn't think that I had it. So, um, I made up a little bit here. He pulled a little gap in some areas, but I was able to kind of close it up and actually make a pass for the lead midway through the race.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, so you got good drive onto the straight and were able to just do a draft past them?
Yeah, I mean, we had a little bit of, like I said, horsepower or legs on Cam. So when I did close that gap, I was able to draft by him. And really, with how quickly I closed the gap, I thought maybe I could get out front and lead for a bit, but he made the pass right back into turn two. So I kind of figured he wasn't wanting to let me lead. So really, my plan was, with how easily I was able to draft him, was to just kind of sit behind him and wait until the white flag, the last run onto the straightaway, and make the pass from there. Um, but it became a bit more challenging because we got into lap traffic.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That must have been a challenge. And I also noticed that you between qualifying and the race, I think you picked up over a second a lap, didn't you, or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I ran the fastest lap of the race with a 38.9, and
Wow.
that was, I guess, pretty incredible. I mean, my crew chief, he was pretty stoked, and I didn't know that I even ran that time. I wasn't looking at my dash. I was just focused on staying with him. But yeah, we picked up like a second and a half in that race, so
Oh wow.
it was huge. And I really credit it all to my team because we made a really educated guess based on our setup and qualifying. We made a huge change for the race, and it really just kind of paid off. I mean, the bike felt incredible. It was so much fun to ride, and yeah, I mean, we were there. So
Very cool. So that, like, I mean, that's a gamble to make a change that big, before a race. Like, do you, when do you, like, when you line up, when do you figure out that, oh, okay, this is going to work? Is it during the warm up lap, or is it during those first laps, or when do you get the feeling that you've got the right setup?
um, the bike was really good in qualifying. I mean, we were second in a field of, I think, 23, 24 riders, so we were there. And I mean, as far as improving the bike, you're always looking to improve the bike. I mean, even if you win the race by 10 seconds, you can always make it better. So obviously, being 1.3 behind Cam, we wanted to make the bike better so we could hang with him. And I mean, Steve Weir, he's my crew chief, and he's an engineer, and he's really good with his data and with my feedback, and the data that we were looking at. We made a really good setup change to be able to do it. And I think getting into second was probably a huge step towards me staying with Cam, because I think if I was stuck in a battle with third and fourth, he would have been gone. So there's just so many things that kind of attributed to me being able to stay with him and run those faster times. We always say it's kind of a team effort, but there were a lot of things that went into place that made it happen. And I'm happy to be sitting here talking to you about it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, so let's talk about that last lap. You get the white flag. How's the bike feeling? Do you think you have enough to maybe make a run for him, or what?
So, I mean, at the pace that we were running, I mean, both of us were running lap record pace. I mean, he did a really low 39 and I did a high 38. And I could tell he was struggling for grip a little bit. And I was definitely struggling for grip in the last few laps, not only in the rear, but also in the front. Kept kind of losing the front over some of the bumps in the track. And I just pushed as hard as I could. I mean, coming across the stripe for the white flag, there was some lap traffic that actually kind of held me up a little bit. And then I just pushed with everything I could and ended up, sorry, that's my
It's all
dog.
right.
Ended up zero point 0.3 seconds behind him at the stripe. So it was close.
Yeah, yeah. So, now you didn't find out? So you actually crossed the line second. You were. When did you find out that there was an infraction and that infraction pushed you to the top step?
Um, so I didn't know. I mean, it was they actually kind of were replaying the infraction where Cam went outside of track limits while we were standing on the podium. So like on all the jumbotron screens around the track, they were showing it. but I kind of just assumed that I wasn't really sure what the penalty was, so I assumed I was second, and I was, super happy for that finish. And Cam won the championship and won the race, and it was on from there. But the race was under review because of that, and it wasn't until about 4 or 5 hours later that we were actually kind of granted the victory. So um, it was a bit of a surprise. I mean, I was actually standing on the Superbike grid for the race when I found out. So
Wow.
um, it was pretty amazing, But
Hmm.
it's
Did
not.
did you
I'm sorry.
did you actually see the infraction when he went beyond that second white line, or was that like you only saw it afterwards?
No, I did. I mean, it was right in front of me, and I knew that it had happened, and I wasn't really sure what the penalty was going to be assessed. But regardless, I mean, I pushed as hard as I could, and actually came up just a little bit short on the line. But um, given the penalty being zero point 0.4 seconds, and he beat me by zero point 0.3, it gave us the win by less than a tenth of a second. So I couldn't be happier, really.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you had to push all the way to the line. If you hadn't, even with that infraction, you might not have been rewarded the victory. So it's a good thing that you did. So this is your first victory since 2018, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah. So my last win was VIR, Virginia, in 2018. I won the first two races of the year on this bike, on the BMW, and it's been a long time, and this year has been challenging on this new bike. There's not really anyone else racing it, so it's hard. We can't really feed off of other teams and kind of collect data and that. So we've just been learning on our own, and it's been it's been challenging. It's been an uphill battle, but it's super rewarding to come away with a win, especially at Indy. I mean, that's a track that it's iconic in the racing world, and it's I don't know if it's even really hit me yet that I wanted Indy because of how it kind of went down, but um, it definitely feels good, and it's great to be here talking to you about it because
Yeah.
it's kind of maybe helping set it in a little bit.
Very, very cool. How's the elbow feeling? Because I think it was a mountain bike accident that caused the injury, and you've kind of been like having to nurse that throughout the season, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been tough. It happened between the first two rounds of the year. I was up working in Utah, and I was mountain biking after a day of work, and I ended up going over the handlebars and breaking my elbow, and actually had to go straight to MotoAmerica and race with it broken. There was a piece of my elbow in the joint, and that was very difficult. And then from there, I went straight to surgery, and it's been tough ever since. I mean, the doctor said, you'd take like 4 to 6 months of resting and recovery and stretching and physical therapy, and I've done 6 full race weekends since.
That doesn't count as the 4 to 6 months, I don't think.
It doesn't. So I'm looking forward to this off season to really rest up. I think my elbow is probably about 80-90%. Uh,
Okay.
it's weird though. It's the injury. It doesn't affect me when I'm on the bike. What I'm fortunate enough, whatever position I'm in, I can manage the handlebars and move around just fine now. But it's like it's super random. I'll be like going to grab like a cup out of the cupboard, and that's when it like locks up and causes me pain. It's strange. It's unfortunate, but kind of pushing through that race when it was broken at Road America has ultimately put me in a position where I am right now in the championship by collecting points and doing well. And like I said, it's been an uphill year with the new bike and with my injury, but again, standing here top three in both championships right now and just came off of a win. I'm really looking forward to going to Laguna.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the first year with the bike and a weird year two, battling with an injury. You're second in Superbike Cup, right? And third in Stock 1000.
Right.
So, what are you hoping? What are you hoping for at Laguna?
I mean, I'm just hoping for another good weekend, to be able to come straight out of the box and push and not have any sort of mechanical issues or anything with the motorcycle holding me back. I mean, I really think that's where we improved at Indy was just not having anything holding us back, no distractions. I could focus 100% on my riding and pushing the bike. So I mean, at Laguna's not really one of my favorite tracks, but with how we've improved the setup and the handling of this bike, I think we're going to be right there with Cam again. I'd love to fight for a win like we did at Indy, and I'd love to take home another win. I think it would be a great way to cap off the year. And as far as the Superbike races go, I think it's going to be hard to beat my career best sixth place that I did last weekend, but I'm going to push as hard as I can and try and be up there a little bit further in the running order with the full built Superbikes. So it's going to be a busy weekend for me, just like Indy was, with 3 Superbike races, the stock race, and then I'm also going to be racing a Harley Davidson in the bagger class.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, 5 races. It's going to be busy, but I'm looking forward to capping off the year with another successful weekend for sure.
Very cool. You know the track well because are you an instructor at that track?
So I'm a coach with the California Superbike School. I have
Okay.
been for a long time, and because it's kind of relatively close to Vegas, it's an easy flight. I've spent a lot of years up there coaching, and geez, probably 10, 12 years now racing at. So it's a track I know really well. It's a track that I haven't always had the best results at. I don't think I've ever finished on the podium, but I mean, with how we figured out this new bike and kind of the confidence and momentum we've got from last weekend, I think we'll be right there again.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope build on that success. So yeah, best of luck to you, and thanks for taking the time, Travis. And once again, Travis is contributing to On the Level. He's a regular columnist. He gives some great behind the scenes look into what his racing season and off season is like, and let's root for him at Laguna. Thanks again, Travis.
Thanks.
Oh, one more thing before we go. Travis races thanks to the generosity of a whole cargo truck full of sponsors. So Travis, give them a shout out now because they deserve it.
Yeah, so first of all, I got to thank BMW North America because I wouldn't be racing this bike and I wouldn't be racing this brand if they weren't supporting me. Alpha Racing, they supply a lot of the aftermarket parts for my bike, so I appreciate their support as well. My mom, Harps Harley Davidson. I know it's kind of weird to be sponsored by a Harley dealer and race a BMW, but she supplies the race hauler for me to use and the trailer for the year, and she kind of helped put some money forward to help me build the bike for the season. Steve Weir, my crew chief from BMW North America, he's my engineer. I mean, he's the one that makes my bike go fast. And Alex Torres, Fastline Motorcycle Performance, he runs his own performance tuning shop out of Austin, Texas, and he's basically my right-hand guy. He's the only one working on the bike, and he even helps me drive to the rig to some of the races. Keith Coe, the California Superbike School, they've been supporting me over the years as far as, rider coaching and also a little bit of financial support. Irv Seaver BMW, got linked up with them. They're out of California. They kind of helped me get a lot of my parts for the bike. And Cortec, they supply my suits for the year. Arai helmets, those guys keep me safe. Alpha One Vinyl Works, Excelsa Solutions, they kind of make the bike look great. They help me with stickers and things like that. Velocity Calibrations, he helped me set up my suspension for the year, along with Olin's. GB Racing, Evol Technologies, SPS Brakes, Moto Option, Motool, Capit, they supply my tire warmers. I mean, it's just a whole group effort that makes it happen. And I'm sorry if I forgot anyone, but it's really just kind of attributed to all of our success this year. And for us talking about the win last weekend, I mean, it's really a team effort, so I just wanted to give them thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone gets a piece of that victory for sure. So thank you, sponsors. Thank you, Travis, and we'll see you at the track.